be moving along the eastern seaboard over the next couple of days. Meanwhile, some intense thunderstorms moving in from the west, and any one of these in a few spots can bring damaging wind gusts and downpours through the first part of tonight, and rather muggy and warm in the low 70s. Tomorrow, once again, lots of humidity. The temperature heading for 90 away from Cape Cod, feeling closer to 100 degrees in the Boston area. Sunshine will mix with clouds, a thunderstorm late in the day, and by tomorrow night, any showers will gradually wind down in the mid-60s. Thursday, much cooler, highs 70 to 74, with more clouds, a few sunny breaks, a shower or two late, and then the storm will be moving up along the eastern seaboard, and by then we could see heavy tropical downpours, the high 78. For WATD, I'm meteorologist Rob Gilman.
87 degrees outside our South Shore studio, 612. That's local news. I'm Christine James. And saying good evening to Talk Real Estate with Sharon McNamara right here on 95.9 WATD.
Now, Talk Real Estate with Sharon McNamara, sponsored by Boston Connect Real Estate Services.
Hi, I'm Sharon McNamara, and you are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. Let me share a little bit about my background before we get started. I am the broker-owner of Boston Connect Real Estate, a boutique real estate firm that is home to over 30 real estate sales and marketing consultants who service home buyers and home sellers throughout Boston, the South Shore, the South Coast, and Cape Cod. Our firm takes pride in assisting our clients in the next chapter of their lives by taking a holistic approach to their real estate endeavors. We believe that every move should be a moving experience. Every week, my real estate team member, Mary Baker, and I, along with the director of Boston Connect Real Estate, Melissa Wallace, provide you with our unique marketing approach to selling homes and share with you our expertise in navigating the home buying process. We like to mix it up sometimes, so not only will you hear our perspective on real estate topics, but you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of some of our real estate agents at Boston Connect Real Estate and the preferred professionals that we trust. Be part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We'd love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team or one of the dedicated agents at Boston Connect Real Estate to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with us at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate.
And hello to all our South Shore neighbors. You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. My name is Melissa Wallace, and I am joined in studio by my team member, Mary Baker.
Hey, Mel.
Hello. And we are joined via Zoom with Sharon McNamara. I'm not sure if she can hear me right now. I can see American flag.
All the way from the vineyard.
She's on the boat, of course. Their annual 4th of July trip that they do down in Eggertown. So enjoying, I don't know if the sun is out. I really haven't been out.
I feel like we need to
today.
pray to that. You know how you do the rain dance? We need to do a sun dance so that we can get some sun for Sharon and Mark down on the boat.
Yeah. I
don't know what that is. If everybody knows what a sun
Dan
dance
McCoy, the hustle.
Whatever that is, a sun hustle. Yeah.
The theme song of our people.
Yeah. We talked about last week. I was going to Newport, and it pretty much rained the whole entire time. And what can you do in Newport when it's raining?
Not
just
much.
sit inside. So could have really been anywhere, but I'm sure Sharon feels the same way. So I can't really see. Oh, there we go. We can see her now. So I am going to get us all ready on Facebook if somebody wants to take over for me right now.
Sure can. So tonight we are going to be talking about real estate scams. And I think we've done a show on this once before, just when it was kind of like just starting out. And now we're just seeing it more and more. And you guys know that we like to take our real life experiences and turn them into shows. So we had a real life experience and we're going to turn it into a show. Right, Joe?
Yeah. And, the thing is I don't really like when these types of situations happen, but when it happened perfectly because it happened yesterday and I am away, as you can see. I did my show from, we did our show from when I was here last year too, except for it was sunny and bright. This year, not so much, but we had the
American flag in the background looks just as good though.
Yeah, it's windy here today. So the sun peeked out a little bit, but yeah, there goes our old glory back there. But it happened yesterday. And then when Mel asked, oh, what are we going to have for a topic tonight? I was like, oh, this would be a great topic. So I know, Mary, you're going to reach out to somebody that I was sort of chatting with on Facebook. I just don't know if he was able to make it or join us or not. I don't think so. I didn't see it on the agenda.
No. So we will have, I won't even announce who he is just in case, but we will have him on hopefully in a couple of weeks. He just had some things that he had to take care of tonight, but he teaches about basically like real estate scams and internet scams at one of the local colleges, as well as is a retired chief of police. So I was like, oh, that sounds like the makings for a very interesting show. So if, in a couple of weeks, we'll revisit and see what we can put together.
Yeah. So why don't you guys explain what happened yesterday, and then I'll go into what happened today at the office as well.
Interesting. All right, Chad, I'll let you take that one.
So what happened yesterday was as you know, when you're a real estate agent on vacation, you're sort of checking your phone all the time anyways. And so I checked my phone and I kept on getting these text messages. I'd like more information about the rental. I'd like to see the rental. And I was like, uh-oh, here we go. Because if you recall, last year I was actually interviewed by one of the news stations. I don't remember. I think maybe it was Channel 4. About the same situation happening. It doesn't just happen to our office, by the way. It does happen to a lot of offices. It's really trying to get on top of it before it does happen. So I was able to ask the people who were texting me, can you tell me where you saw the property for rent? And what they were calling, it was 67 Redwood Circle, which is one of our new listings that we just put on last week, right before we went away for 4th of July, right? Or the week before. Yep. Just got it under agreement last week. So it's in everything. It's showing up as under agreement or contingent. So if you go on flow or anything like that. And somebody took the photos, and thank goodness it's a vacant property. That just makes me feel a little more comfortable, just because it isn't like somebody can see the inside of somebody's house. And they take the photos, and then they made a listing on a thing. I think it's called rental or something, Turbo Tenant. Yeah, turbotenant.com. And then what they did is they took that link and put it on Facebook Marketplace. So the people who reached out to me, and this is where Mary was like, well, they're not too smart of scammers if they're giving your phone number. Yeah, no. Well,
I was like, I don't understand. How are they calling you? It's not very smart.
Yeah. So what they were doing, what the people who did end up calling me, luckily what they ended up doing is they took the address, they Googled the address. So when they Googled the address, they got our actual listing, which brought them to my phone number, which they were able to call me. So they called me directly. Some other people drove by the house and were texting me, and they were in front of the house yesterday. I don't even know if I updated either of you on that yesterday, but calling me directly from in front of the house. And that's how I was alerted to this situation happening.
I wonder, so did you ever see any of the original posts for it? Like, did you physically see it before you sent it in? Were you able to see like a date and timestamp? Because I'm curious, just from like when we were on market to when we went under agreement, when they thought of this brilliant idea of stealing the listing and the photos and posted it. Like, when did it happen?
I honestly think it just happened on Monday. I think that we got very lucky and we caught it in time. But again, that's a matter of being very alert to what's going on and not saying, because, when we're just familiar with this now, right? So we understand what the scammers are. Like there's somebody's, and I can't wait to talk to this man about the guy that's always texting everyone in our office saying that they're me to send that. He texted me last week asking me.
Yeah, I got that too. I didn't even respond. Usually I just try to play with them a little bit. I didn't even respond. I was like, seriously? Of all the people in the office to text me on my day off, it's a scammer. Like, really? At least everybody else respected my space.
Yeah, but I'm glad to hear that, by the way. I'm so glad you had a good time while you were away.
Yes, we did have a good time. Again, I wish the weather was better, but so not to interrupt your part of the story, but I didn't know that this happened. I hadn't talked to you guys about it. All I knew is I saw an email in the team email, something about, it being Redwood and like a scam and stuff. So when I got a phone call today, from a woman saying that, I put in an application yesterday and I paid. So I just want to know, like, did I get the apartment? So I'm like, she couldn't remember the address. She couldn't. And I was like, well, we don't have any rentals and you couldn't have paid yesterday. Like, who would you have paid yesterday? And it has to do with our office. So pretty much just going through it. And she's like, I have to find my email. She finally finds it. It's 67 Redwood Circle. And I said, actually, that is for sale. It's on the market. It does have an accepted offer. And she had actually paid a fee to this, she thought this company, but she knew that you were the listing agent on it. And so I never saw the post on the website, but I did see the emails back and forth saying that it had been taken down. But this woman saw it yesterday, paid the fee, which was $45. And that could be a lot of money to somebody who's looking for, a rental or anybody. And it just, and she was like, well, how do I get my money back? And I'm like, well, you might have to reach out to Turbo Tenant because we don't have your money. Like,
well, and too, I was thinking about that too, this is why I sort of, even though I am on vacation, like I needed to react to this quickly because I didn't want people to get scammed. And I hate to say she was only out $45. And I was talking to Mark about this. We actually just went up and had an early dinner, and I was saying, $45, it's not a ton of money, but it's a lot of money to lose for sure. But how many of those? Because the listing was so cheap, and I know we're going to get into that, like things to look for. If you got 50 people to do that, to give them $45 in some, overseas account, and people aren't going to see it, then it adds up quite quickly. But one of the other scams that we were getting last year, and if I'm going too fast forward on this, Mel, just let me know. But people were giving last month's rent, like giving thousands of dollars. And the person would call and say, I can't make it. I got a flat tire. I was supposed to meet you at the rental, got a flat tire. Just, we have so many people interested. If you want to secure it, you have to send me this money, Venmo me this money. And people do not ever do that.
Yeah. I mean, how many people saw it in the past, day or day and a half? But like, honestly, it was a holiday. So Sunday was a holiday. A lot of people had yesterday off. These scammers are relying on the fact that, okay, everyone's going to enjoy a day or two off, and I'm not going to, get caught, or I'm going to get caught after I scam a couple people. And, we at least know of $45 that this person has, but I'm surprised. I don't know how Turbo Tenant works or any of those websites. I would think that if it was a legitimate site, that they would get the money first and then like give it to whatever to like once it's verified. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Again, I don't know how it works. I should have researched it before we did this, but it's
I think
crazy.
Right on the website it says like beware of scams. Like I think it just says that, but I don't think if people don't know what the scam is, then they don't know how to react to it. That's the sad part about this is those companies certainly know how to protect themselves.
Yeah, but not necessarily other people.
Yeah. But I'm hoping that maybe she put it on a credit card that the woman that called you or anybody else who did get sort of trapped by this, maybe they put it on, like I put things like that on my American Express, and American Express is great about, getting to the bottom of things and making sure that you're protected. So hopefully that's how she did it. And hopefully she didn't use her real bank account, because that makes me more worried. To think that,
I mean, you never know. I mean, she could not have a credit card.
Yeah, maybe she thinks it's only $45, but did they go in and take everything? I just hope not.
Yeah. There was also, so you had, Melissa sent me an email earlier today from Playster that somebody inquired. It was either this morning or late last night, because so on our website, it goes directly to our admins first to kind of filter out to all the agents. And it was somebody inquiring about Redwood Circle. And he put this lengthy email in his request form, basically saying, hey, I saw this. It looks too good to be true. Is it too good to be true? I'm researching and I'm seeing that like almost everywhere it says under contract or sale pending. He goes, but I also see that it's listed for a rental. So that in his instance, I don't believe that he went and did the actual application. He was kind of just trying to gather information. So it's kind of like this buyer beware, tenant beware. You have to know where your money is going, right? Like and so I looked earlier today, I was trying to find anywhere that I could see this listing for rent. Like, where is it? And almost everything that I came up with today, probably about 2-3 o'clock, I couldn't find a rental listing anywhere. It was all, for sale. So it seems as if it's been taken down at this point. But
I know I reached out to, so I was really lucky too that I actually called everybody that texted me and they answered the phone. But again, this is what breaks my heart is people who are prying on the innocent who are just looking for affordable housing, right? It just really sort of breaks my heart to think, again, if it looks too good to be true, it is true. By the way, you are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. There's a boat going by.
we can't hear it.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Okay. Well, there it goes, and it's loud. If you have any questions about this topic or if you've heard of any real estate scams, we'd love to hear from you tonight. Ben is in studio, and he'll get you over to Melissa and Mary to ask us some questions if you want. 781-837-4900. We'd love to hear from you. And I know that the girls also have Facebook up, so you can also ask a question through Facebook on McNamara Broker Team, I believe, is where we are.
Yeah. I guess we can sort of jump into like just the generic things about like scamming. So like we talked about, they steal photos. So it might be a property that's on the market or even sold. So like last year, the property that was, for rent was actually one of your former buyers. But you guys had both sides. Yeah. So you recognize the photos instantly because you paid for them. So they were professional photos. They were of your previous clients' stuff. So you could recognize that pretty easily. And that was sort of like the first trigger because when a property goes back on the market, you generally take new photos. Yeah. So nobody, like if you relist a property or, if for some reason they go with another agent, they're going to take their own photos. So if you recognize the photos that you purchased when you had that listing, that's a sort of a red flag. But unfortunately, somebody who's looking for a rental isn't going to recognize that. So they're not going to recognize, this was a listing that was a year ago. Pretty much the listing agent will. But I forget exactly. Somebody had reached out to you directly.
It was actually the former buyer.
Yeah,
reached out to
us because somebody had been reaching out to them. So at least somebody was able to contact the team, but stealing photos and doing false advertising. So something that is interesting when you look through, and a lot of the times we can catch it with the text messages, is the wording of what they say. And like it tends to be in all capitals too. It's like this, and it's like, this is Sharon McNamara. It's like Sharon McNamara is like yelling at you. And so like we know, like if you continue on the conversation with the person, which some of our agents have some fun with it, eventually it's like, send buy the gift cards and send me the numbers and stuff like that, which is a total scam. None of us no one's really ever going to say that. I mean, I've never had anybody ask me for that. So I think
nobody's going to call you and say, hey, would you mind picking up a gift card for me and then maybe
move on to something else, or just stop scamming. But false advertising. So you just be aware of, the spelling and the details, the grammar with the post. So if it's somebody like a company, so like Turbo Tenant, if it's a company doing this advertising, everything should be spelled right. It should be correct grammar. It should be these things. If they're not, that's something to question. All right, this might not be real. I don't know if you get... Yeah.
Oh, sorry. One of the things that I noticed on the listing, and I know that we got that taken down pretty quickly, but when I scrolled down, it said that it was posted by the owner of the property. So I give kudos to the gentleman that went directly onto our website.
Yeah.
And, did his research. I mean, that's what he should be doing, is doing the research to try to trickle it down to see where it is, because Mel, when you were talking about the pictures, it would be way too coincidental that we just put a house on the market 2 weeks ago and now we're renting it with the same exact pictures. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I think that was a good thing to bring up with the pictures. And a lot of times they do it with properties that are sold.
Yeah.
So,
well, just something that popped into my head, and hopefully this isn't confusing, but like sometimes in MLS things are listed as like a single family home or like as a condo too, or like just like depending on how like the deed and stuff is like written, is like, okay, is it a multifamily, is it a 2-family, is it a single family with a in-law? So like it can be listed a couple different ways in MLS, so that might be confusing to the consumer if they're not sort of aware or working with a realtor who can explain that to them. So, I mean, I could see how like a consumer could look at, oh, there's a multifamily listed. Oh, there's a single family. They have the same photo. So like that could be confusing. But I think rentals and for sale, I mean, I don't really know of like a situation where somebody would put their house for sale and for rent at the same time. I mean, it could happen.
Stranger things have happened.
It could happen. It's sort of like, oh, if I don't get an offer, I could rent it type of thing. But we probably wouldn't advise to do it at the same time.
You would think, yeah.
And that's what, I mean, that again, going back to just doing your research, if you're on Craigslist, I think that's the thing that's so scary about this is going on to that, what's it called? Turbo tenant. Like it looks that like that website in itself is legitimate.
Legit, yeah. Or it is legit.
It is legitimate. I filled in and said I wanted more contact. And I wanted more information, so contact me. I did that myself, and I got a questionnaire back asking when I was looking to rent and all this other stuff. Like, so the application that they're talking about, I actually got. It's in my email. But I didn't obviously take those extra steps. But one of the things is always, if you are seeing a rental that's out there in Facebook Marketplace, if you don't know the person, a lot of times people are renting houses on their own or their apartment, like they're subleasing or doing something like that. Then you have to do the research, like find out. And then like these people calling me directly, it doesn't matter what real estate agent you call. If you see it listed by an agent, just call that agent and say, oh, I see it in there as a rental, because then you'll know the truth. But definitely don't send anybody any money before you even see the apartment.
Yeah, it's kind of like operating with a degree and or layer of skepticism with whatever you do. And it sounds terrible that you have to do this in this world that we live in, but the more accessibility we have, the more instant gratification, the more things that are at our fingertips with the touch of a button, the easier we are to hack, like 100%, and be taken advantage of.
That's like having the same password for everything and then telling everybody what that password is. We do have somebody who's watching us on Facebook, Madison. She says, hi, ladies. Great topic. Cheers, chat.
Hi, Madison.
So Madison's watching us. Hi, Madison. I would think that, all those are great things. Great things to touch upon.
There's so many different types of scams right now, like internet scams. And that's why I think the episode that we do with the gentleman who teaches about internet scams will be so intriguing. Even like personally, my own mother has actually been really, really scammed recently. And it was devastating to her, absolutely positively devastating to her. And she was not operating with a degree of skepticism. She was like, why would Rockland? So completely nothing to do with real estate. This is just banking fraud. And where we're talking about somebody giving their actual banking information over the phone or over the internet. No bank, and I would love to have somebody who's in the banking industry call in and let us know what your thoughts are on this. But no bank is ever going to call you and ask you to verify your account number.
Yeah.
They might ask you if you called them and they said, hey, what was the minimum purchase that you just made? If you don't know your account number or something like that, that's one thing. But for them to actually call you, there's something bigger going on. And they used the gift card scam with my mother. They got her banking information. And I mean, it was really, really bad to the point where she's no longer on the internet because she's so terrified. So it's serious. It's not just potentially $45. It could be $6,000, $10,000. You know, it's just people fall for it all the time, you know?
Yeah. I think I've gotten like one call from my bank that I thought was a little questionable, but it was only because I had been collecting money for a donation to a charity, and I donated. I took all of the money and I donated, and it was a good amount of money. So like my bank called me and was like, I just want to make sure that like you're really donating to this. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's legit. But I mean, it was nice to sort of know. It's like,
but they're calling you and they're verifying. They're they're protecting you. They're making sure that you're okay. And when this person called my mother, it was all under the guise of, hey, we're seeing some fraudulent charges. Money's being taken out of your bank accounts. This is what you have to do to fix it. And I mean, somebody who isn't, you know, I don't want to say just kind of very trustworthy, right? She's operating like, oh my gosh, that's such a nice thing for the banking place to do. I'm not going to give out any names. Place. Well, the bank. I just don't want to say the name of the bank. I don't know if I can.
Banking institution. How's that?
Institution. There's money.
She was really pleasantly surprised. I mean, she thought like they were trying to protect her, and then it's so violating, you know, and to have it go in such the opposite direction. I mean, it was just awful. So this is like super serious.
Yes. Well, it could be dangerous. You know, I don't know what the statistic is, but I would assume that it's sort of the older generation that can fall for these types of scams. And especially if they're living alone, to have people just randomly showing up to their house or somehow contacting them because their home is for rent. I mean, that it can be dangerous. You know, I would just...
If we talk about this for a minute too, and if you remember, Melissa, your favorite show that we had with your favorite guests last year, COVID, and we talked about, for me as a listing agent, I never put pictures of children's bedrooms in any of my listings. This is a very, very good example why. The internet is free. There are freaks out there. They are looking upon the vulnerable, right? So that's why I don't do it. You know, everybody has like, you know, Johnny's room on, and I've talked about this in the past. I've had no problem selling houses. We have very strong listing agents, but we've never put children's bedrooms in our listings. And it's for this reason. But the other thing is, I also don't like Matterport. Now, I think it's a great technology. We listened to a webinar. We talked about it last week about how...
Maybe for new construction, it would be good.
Yeah. Because it's vacant, and who cares? If not, who cares if someone breaks in? But if someone breaks in, there's insurance and there's no real people living there. But, you know, the Matterport, you're following dots. I'm literally, oh, great. This looks like a great house for me to break into. I'm just going to walk around. I know where all your furniture is, so I'm not going to trip over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's too damn easy to all that. There's just too much out there.
Yeah, something that you said in the beginning of this was it sort of triggered a thought. So I think Mary and I were at one of our listings. This was maybe like 3 years ago. It was one in the Bridgewaters, and the client did something to do with like cybersecurity, but like had to do with like children. And we explained to them. Do you remember this? We were there for the final walkthrough maybe, or something, smoke inspection, I think it was. And they were just like telling us about sort of how they, track people down in cyberspace and all these things. And just like, you just never know what people are capable of until you have to know what people are capable of. And we explained to them that like, we never put kids' photos in, like, it's just, no. I mean, we don't even want cats or dogs in our photos. Not because it's not like aesthetically pleasing. Well, like, who wouldn't want to see a dog? Every so often, Mary will be in a photo in MLS. But yeah, that was just something that popped in my head when you were talking. But some of the ways that the scammers are sort of taking action is, like we said, they're doing false advertising. They're relisting previously sold properties, listing a house for rent that is actually on the market to be sold, listing a property without the owner's knowledge, which is super, super dangerous, especially if the owner never catches on. And who should they call? So like, say their house isn't on the market, but somehow it becomes knowledge to them that their house is being, listed for rent. I mean, obviously call the police, right? They might not have, they won't, because their house isn't for sale, they don't have a realtor to go to. So like your client last year was able to call you and be like, hey, this is like my condo is being listed for rent. Like, can you help me? And you were able to help them. Some people don't have somebody to call.
All you can do in that instance is report.
Well, that one there on the one that we're talking about with Diane is, it actually was, we had another client and I had just sold her house, and she has a house down the Cape, and she wanted to be closer to work where she worked in Braintree, and she saw the listing on Craigslist. She called me. She's like, hey, do you know anything about this place for rent? I'd like to see it. And I said, send me the link. And she sent me the link, and I was like, whoa. Wait a second.
Well, that's good circumstances right there. That's a coincidence.
It's the weirdest coincidence. Yeah. And I was like, so I called Diane because she was our buyer client as well. And I was like, hey, I know, that whatever, like, are you considering like renting your place? And she's like, no. So that's that one. We lucked out with that one. But again, she could have been scammed out of thousands.
So, a lot of people are using Craigslist, and now we know of Turbo Tenant, but a lot of people are using Craigslist because it's so easily accessible. And it's like I haven't really heard anybody talk about Craigslist recently. So like, I never used Craigslist. Like I think I went on it once.
I feel like Facebook Marketplace is
like the thing. So, but the thing with Facebook is like, you're able to creep on somebody. So like you can hire me. I will creep on it. Oh, you don't even have to hire me. I'll do it for free. I will creep on somebody. I will find out everything about them.
Put Melissa on the case. Don't worry about it.
Put me on the case, and I'll figure it out for you. But yeah.
And
so
Facebook is very good about. They took it down pretty immediate because I posted something on Pembroke Connect. So as soon as I was alerted to it, I then alerted Facebook that it was a scam. I was able to reach out to that Turbo Tenant, alert them that it was a scam. But this is the thing that sort of irritated me. They then sent me an email and said, you need to prove that you're the owner of the property. I need a copy of your tax bill and a utility bill and your payment in your name, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm the listing agent.
I saw
AAA
that.
or the DMV, okay? Like I'm trying to get a listing taken down.
Yeah, I saw that in response, and honestly, I felt like it was a further scam. I was like, oh, no. I like, there's no way.
Yeah. I saw that email too. I was like, that's a little, and it looks automated too.
It did.
Not to talk over you, but it did look automated. So that's something else that people have to sort of be aware is like.
And why do I have to prove that I'm bringing this to your attention? Make the person who's doing the rental prove that they're the person. Have them give you the documents because they can't. But anyway,
you're like, now I don't trust you.
Yeah. Yeah, but back to Craigslist. So like a lot of people use Craigslist, not just this like Craigslist killer, but a lot of people do like real estate scams. Oh my God. Sorry, that's all I think about when I think of Craigslist. That's why I don't think I've ever used it. Like, what good has ever come from Craigslist? Nothing.
I don't know. People seem to really like it.
No.
But one thing, so like with Craigslist, so I used to use Craigslist or operate and help people from a rental standpoint, just be like, hey, this is probably your best opportunity here is you're supposed to be verified, right?
Yeah.
Completely lost my train of thought with that.
All right.
Oh,
okay.
I believe that if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Well, okay.
That's something that, so I think with this particular house that what they had for rent, they were saying it's, a 900 square foot house or a 960 square foot house for under $1,000 in Pembroke.
Yeah, that's bananas.
Like it's if it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Well, to that point is like, okay, so possibly do your research and see what other like rentals are in the area, and you can sort of get what did someone just drink something? I'm not looking. Oh, you're having some rosé. That's lovely. We're having coffee to wake ourselves up. It's been a long day. But you do a little research. So, okay, if you're not working with an agent to help you find a rental or working with somebody else, do a little research. So, like, you probably do know, like, what typically, like, a 2-bedroom rental. But, okay, so this is a house, 2 bedrooms, 900 square feet. It's going to be a little bit more than $900 a month.
Well, yeah, start looking at what the average rates in your rental rates in your area are, and immediately you'll be like, "Ooh, red flag, red flag."
If the situation is better than what you're living in now and it's cheaper, it might be a scam. I'll put it out there. Because at $900, you'll have people lining up down the street.
Well, that's why I think we were getting as many inquiries as we were, as people are like, "Oh my gosh, like number one, Pembroke doesn't have a ton of rentals to begin with. So as soon, and especially where it went on Facebook Marketplace, as soon as that went out, I mean, I'm surprised you didn't get more phone calls, honestly, Sharon.
Well, I don't know if you saw it right before we went on the show. Actually, the owners, well,
I did.
The daughter actually called me because it's her aunt's house, and she didn't want to, get her mom upset or like, make her that nervous. But I told her, I reached out to her right away because my fear was, I don't want our client to be in the house, finishing up, cleaning up, doing whatever they're doing around the house. And then now these strangers are just showing up at the house.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here to rent the house, or, you know what I mean? The other thing I did is I reached out to somebody in the neighborhood that is a past client of ours, and I alerted her to the situation too, because I was trying to do everything in my power that if people do show up, that I'm letting them know, like somebody needs to tell them it's a scam, don't send them any money. And she's on a text message group with like 12 of her neighbors, and she reached out to all of her neighbors too, and just sort of kept them on high alert too, so we can do everything that we possibly can to protect people from being sucked into this terrible situation.
Yeah, we have a couple people who are watching us. Ken McCormick, keeping it real, ladies. Hi. He's like our number one fan. Jasmine, I never would have thought of that. I'm sure she's talking about everything because we're just full of knowledge.
Full of good ideas.
And then Kim McKenna is watching too. Thanks for the info. I mean, this is
it was Kim that I reached out to. It was Kim
McKenna,
that I reached out to.
Neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, that's important. You really have to look out for your neighbors.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say now. Exactly that, like looking out to your neighbors. And, when I reached out to Kim, I was just like, at first I was like, I don't want to make her obligated to do this, but I'm clearly on vacation. And you know what I mean? Like, we're very fortunate. Our clients become our friends, and I know the type of people we work with don't want to see anybody else get hurt financially either. And it stinks that, people potentially, I really am curious, Mel, with that person. I'm sort of talking now like real talk on the radio, but the person, you have that person's phone number that called. Do you still have that phone number? You might want to call her back and just make sure that she alerts her bank or her credit card or something.
Yeah, I did tell her I didn't put it in the text message, but I did have a little bit of a conversation with her because she was like, well, what am I going to do? So I was like, you just, however you paid for it, make sure that you reach them.
Well, I hope they didn't take more money. That's what I'm hoping. I hope they didn't take
as far as I know, it was just the money for the application. So, I mean, that's that.
Other thing, maybe don't put in an application for properties that you've never seen in person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's scary. And that's kind of, so this air of desperation that we're in right now, even from a home buying perspective and a rental perspective, the amount of inventory is so limited that I feel like sometimes people are just acting from this desperate place. Just get me into something. I don't care what it is. Like, I just need a home. I just need a place. And their obviously living situation on the other side must be so I don't want to say inconvenient, but
I'm sorry that I keep on interrupting.
No, it's all right.
It's like I'm talking to real live people who have real live needs and
problems, I'm sure.
$950 or whatever. I think it was $950 for, this house, a ranch style home. And they were just hopeful. Like, that's the part that, like, oh my gosh, it just like breaks my heart to think of, like, the woman who drove all the way there, and she just probably felt urgency that she wanted to be one of the first ones to have her application in. And you know what I mean? Like, that just literally breaks my heart. But now these people want me to help them find a rental. And it's like, there is no such thing as a house for rent for $945. There's no such thing.
Yeah. Honestly, scamming is never going to be over or gone.
I know, and that's just sad. That's
what
the reality,
some people,
right?
Yeah, this is just what some people do, unfortunately, even though, like, this, I feel like, is so ridiculous, like, to scam somebody out of $45 for an application fee. Like, seriously, get a job.
I literally, actually at Redwood Circle earlier today, there we started, we were going through like a home inspection process, right? And I went there and I met up with the buyer's agent and the buyer. And I said, hey, I just want to make you aware of this. I'm not sure if you've seen anything, but I don't want the buyer to feel as if anything's going on. I don't know if you've seen that, like, there was a post and
hi, Miss Marley.
Hi, Marley Bella.
Hello.
But I don't want her to feel as if, anything's going on. And, like, we're very much aware of it. We've already notified everybody that we can, and to have it taken down. And he operates in the rental field quite often. And he was like, oh, Mary, you have no idea. I've had FBI, like, he does a lot of rentals. And he's like, I've had FBI come to our office. I've had somebody come to our office in tears that they actually gave somebody $6,000. And he was like, well, you didn't give it to me. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You might want to go try and call somebody, call the police,
Glenn does do a lot of rentals. Yeah,
he does. He was going over even just some like credit card scams or debit card scams. People where he was renting to somebody and he was actually a facilitator in them getting caught later on down the road. But he was renting to somebody who was literally stealing millions of dollars via ATM cards. That's how sophisticated their game was. Yeah. And they would leave and go out of the country or stay somewhere for 3 months, leave and go out of the country, stay somewhere, come back. And that's what they did. I was like, isn't it just easier to get a job? Like, that seems like a lot of work to me.
Yeah. The Catholic girl in me, it just feels better knowing that these people will rot in hell. That's how I feel. Okay.
I did go to jail, so
yeah,
good job, Glenn.
I always get nervous when I use an ATM. Like, I always try to use the ATM at my bank.
Yeah, I never use anything.
I never use I don't even do the cashback thing. I'd rather just go to my bank and use the ATM. And I always get nervous when I get gas because I always want a receipt because I don't want the person next after me stealing my
just think
that it's not the transaction is not done unless I have a receipt. Okay. That's just how I am in my head. I need a receipt because I just feel like someone's going to zoom in right after me and be like, oh, it's still going.
Fill her up.
Fill her up.
So funny.
How much time do we have left? Let's give out the phone number.
We only have 5 minutes left. So if you want to talk to us in our last 5 minutes, call Ben at the studio, 781-837-4900. And if you have any scamming stories, if anyone's tried to scam you, maybe with real estate or something. All right, now I'm getting slap happy. So anybody else have anything to say? Because I don't know if I should talk.
Well, I'm looking forward to the next show if we can have him on in a few weeks because to get a little more in depth with some of, even though it doesn't have to do with real estate, some of the other scams that people, again, they're preying upon the vulnerable, and that would be our seniors or people who are in desperate need of housing, which is one reason why I'm on the Affordable Housing Committee now in Pembroke. It's just, it's just, I guess, the vehicle that we have every Tuesday night here on WATD with our friend Ben over at the studio is that we are able to alert people to these types of things, whether they have to do with real estate or not. It's just about, like Ken McCormick says, we're just keeping it real.
I want to talk on that show just about, how to protect yourselves, like what to do. Like, what can you be doing right now actively to protect yourself from getting scammed? And two, what happens if you do, and where do you go from there? Like, what is the process? What does that look like? And I think he would be a good resource just because he teaches about them and like what the actual scam is and how intricate it is. If somebody in another country is sending 1,000 text messages pretending to be Sharon McNamara or whomever, right? Eventually somebody responds. You gotta know that you know 1,000.
This thing at $45 a piece, you get 100 people to agree because there's 100 people out there that desperate to get housing. There you go, $4,500. Well, and let's keep in mind too, I was scammed last year during COVID when I got number. So I'm still going through that, where somebody
needs to be you, right?
They opened a PPE loan in your name, right?
Yeah.
No,
they
were doing unemployment.
Oh, right. Back when that was the fashionable scam, right?
Yes. Yep. Unemployment in my name, and it's still not taken care of. And I had to put a lock on everything that I do. And embarrassingly, I went to like the Gap or Banana Republic, one of those stores, and my card hadn't been used in a while, and they went to use it, and they're like, "We're sorry, it's locked." I'm like.
But I think, so what you just said right there, that it's embarrassing, I think is why it's important to actually talk about it, because a lot of people are embarrassed that this is that they were taken advantage of, that they were quote unquote gullible enough to fall for it or weren't active enough to realize what was going on, and they don't talk about it. And that's how these scammers are able to continue to do what they do, is because we don't talk about it all that much. And it's like, what do you look out for? How do you protect yourself? It's not embarrassing. Like, this is just an inevitability of the world that we live in now. So the more information you have, the better you are able to protect yourself.
Now,
Sorry, I want to rant.
Give our listeners 3 top tips from tonight's show on how they can best protect themselves and things to look out for with rental scams.
Call a professional. If you think that if there's something to question, call a professional. They'll let you know.
Operate with a general layer of skepticism with everything that you do on the internet.
Trust no one.
And just reach out to somebody else. You're not in this alone, even though you feel like you may be. Just do research. I love that guy. Let's try to get him on the radio show, the one that reached out to us directly on our website. Let's see if he'll join us in a few weeks, because he sensed it was too good to be true, and he did some research, and he reached out to us before he felt trapped and victim.
Absolutely. Well, enjoy the rest of your night, everybody. That's our show.
Bye, everybody. Have a good week.
WATD FM Marshfield, WBMS Brockton. The South Shore's first choice for live team coverage of breaking news, emergency traffic, and severe weather. WATD. Streaming on